I'd like to compare that to the 27 units for round 6.
Hello, how are you?
Morning.
Hey, Fierce. Never you get.
Parcel actually goes to the red road. So
Hey, Allison,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm actually driving. So, but I'm on and I'm connected. Everything looks good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I'm going to unmute myself now.
Or mute yourself. Okay.
I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. All right, we'll get started in about 2 minutes. Where do you want to sit? Like,
Tell
I wanna
me.
Make sure people can hear, they can see on the owl right now, the screen, so all the video and sound comes through the owl.
Okay.
And we are
Yeah, either
recording, so
the seat or the bar stool.
let me grab. Is the bar still okay?
Bar stool's fine.
Do not disturb. Okay. Forever, how are you?
No, this is like my annual.
These are your ones. I don't know if I should sit or if I should stand. I don't want it to be awkward. I want to stand right next to you. That's okay?
Perfect.
I think the schools are good look.
Okay,
Can't go wrong with schools.
cool.
Very COVID.
It's very, yeah, I know. It feels so cold. I think it's 1 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started if that's okay.
Cool.
All right, so welcome everybody to in the How I Built It series. We're doing this quarterly and interviewing top agents that have built their own business in their way. And so there are consistent pieces throughout everybody's way that they built top businesses, but everybody has their own different flavor. And so Antonio, he was our top individual agent in 2021. So he's got, he's got some street cred. And so he's got a lot going on in his personal life and with his business. And so we're going to dive into that. So I have prepared questions and we'll leave it open for Q&A at the end. And he's a pretty open book. So we'll get started.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to hear about who you are, the different hats that you're wearing as a husband and father, and like, tell us about who you are personally.
Sure. So, hi everybody, I'm Antonio. So let's see, start all 35, been married for be 5 years September. My wife and I have 2 kids with 2 on the way.
When are you guys gonna have it? Those
Next
babies?
week.
Oh my gosh.
So life's gonna get a little.
He's having twins, another boy and a girl.
Okay, it's gonna get chaotic. I have a 4 and a 2-year-old, and then I'll have some newborns next week. So, let's see. Yeah, so husband, father, love it. I've been a realtor I got licensed end of 15. Started practicing part-time in 16, and then worked a couple years at a smaller brokerage. Learned a lot there, what to do, what not to do, and then came over to Keller Williams. Big on mindset, discipline, and consistency. I mean, I think that's why I'm here.
Mhm.
Consistency in what I do, monthly, daily, and just always trying to like improve myself, evolve in a better way, with, you know, with the business part, with the industry part, so, and obviously servicing clients, so.
So before we get deep into your business, like tell us a little bit more about what do you like to do for fun? Like what does fun Antonio look like? Hobbies,
Okay.
what do you do?
So, yeah, I like anything outside, so, family and I go to Hinkley Metro Parks a lot, we go to Hinkley Lake, ledge pool. You know, we have woods in our backyard, you know, we're outside a lot.
Golf.
I golf, I do golf, I like golf, I've gotten to golf, probably like 3-4 years ago, pretty consistently. I run, I work out, that's a big staple in kind of who I am and how I discipline myself, and, you know, working out, the, you know, the negative self-talk, all that stuff, you know, get your mind and body in a good, you know, good mood after a workout or a run. So I run pretty consistently. It's been doing that for a handful of years now. Yeah, I'm just hanging out at home. We don't really, you know, we don't do much. We travel quite a bit. We go out to Denver. We like Denver a lot. The mountains, not necessarily Denver, the city. So Rocky Mountains, we go there quite a bit. Like I enjoy skiing. Been skiing for a while. We'll go out to like Breckenridge Vale, stuff like that. Yeah, I enjoy reading. I read every day, usually like 12 to 15 books a year ish.
So take us back to what you were doing before real estate. You kind of touched on that up for a second, but what caused you to do whatever you were doing? Talk about that and what caused you to make that leap into real estate.
So before being a realtor, I was in real estate. I was an investor. So from 09 to about 14, I did that, but from 14 to 15-ish, I wanted more structure, and so I went and got like a 9-to-5 job. It was still sales, it was selling IT, but I was kind of burned out from doing the investment stuff, not having a schedule. You know, I'll get into that, but I lasted 10 months. I didn't like it. It was too much structure. Well, I like the structure part, but I didn't like I couldn't do it my own way part. So it was short-lived. But so prior to that, in 2009, I graduated college. And that May, my cousin and I bought our first rental property with my dad and my uncle, his dad. We found a foreclosure for, it's like 30, 40 grand off 117th in Cleveland. And we bought it FHA, and so we put our money down. We staged it as we were living there, but don't practice that. So then, you know, we just said like the county was, you know, junk. We weren't 9-to-5 type of people, so we bought the flip. We converted from a 3 to a 4, finished the attic or the upstairs. Made, you know, good profits. We paid, you know, my uncle, my dad back, and you know, so we're like, hey, you know, we're living at home. We made some decent cash. Let's do it again. So we just kept doing that. So we, from like 09 to 11, 12, we did that. We took on some investors. So we were doing multiple jobs at a time, kind of building that business from the ground up. And while we were doing that, we were doing side jobs. So I was laying flooring. My cousin on his other side, they do a lot of like renovations and home builders. So they would say, hey guys, you want to paint or lay flooring? And we're like, yeah, we're doing it already. Like, let's make some extra hourly pay. Living at home, didn't have any expenses. So I did that until 14. Then I started, you know, with the money that I saved, started buying stuff to buy and hold on the sheriff's sale. And
Were you still with your cousin at that point, or was
yeah,
transitioning just to you?
so after my little like 10-month stint at the other sales shop. He maintained it. Like I said, I got burned out from doing manual labor. I didn't have a background in that. I didn't know, sleeping in, staying up late, that whole, I didn't have a schedule. It was just like on my own. Nobody was telling me to get up and go to work. It was just like, okay, work a couple hours a day, whatever. So I wasn't structured the way I am now with setting up my day for, for success and things like that. So, so after my little stint, he kept doing it, and he ended up partnering with some other investors, and then that's when I decided to get my license. My wife kind of pushed me into it because I didn't want to go back to doing flips and labor and stuff like that. I like to buy and hold, kind of get in there and rent it out. I think at 14, we ended up buying like 7 off the sheriff's sale. So we were, well on our way with a decent portfolio. So then we kept adding to that. And so then at 15 is when I transitioned into getting my license, practicing real estate. And I worked for a small investment brokerage, primarily investment brokerage. So it was kind of like an easy segue for me to go from what I was doing, flipping, kind of talking numbers, understanding flips, buying holds, into, okay, hey, buyer, you're interested in buying hold. Okay, here's what, I have stuff in Parma. Here's what Parma does. I flipped in Cleveland, I flipped in Parma, I flipped it in some suburbs. So I could speak intelligent on it, and it was super easy. I didn't feel uncomfortable. And then I just had to learn how to service the buyer, the whole, buy process. So that was like a new aspect to what I did, and I enjoyed it. And so kind of never looked back from there.
Did you set goals for yourself that first year?
Honestly, I don't remember. I think I did around 3 million, right around there. But I think for me was just to immerse myself into like doing something, like building something on my own. So that's when I started developing the structure, the discipline into, okay, consistency in calls, learning the process, tweaking it every time. I didn't have a mentor, which we'll touch into that, but so I had to like learn everything on my own. All the agents at the brokerage were all new. Nobody really had any experience.
There were no teams, so you were just a single agent.
Yeah, single agent, kind of on my own, working solely with buyers.
So talk a little bit more about that, because you're going from an investment side into residential real estate, where the leads, I'm assuming, weren't just handed to you, like, here's a list of people to call. So talk about your strategies that you used that first year to get leads for your deals.
Yeah, so we actually had leads. So the broker was marketing Cleveland as an investment area. So we were marketing like the brokerage as, hey, invest here, we'll manage it, whatever. So we were doing that through Bigger Pockets. So I was getting, there was a plethora of leads, buyer leads, but it's, hey, I read a blog or read a book and I want to invest in real estate. So I had to like learn how to filter, the buyers, right? Get them to a lender, let them understand what their budget can do, what's their return on investment, expectations, things like that. So, I cut my teeth on learning how to conversate and understand what the buyer needs were. So, but because the buyers were there was a lot of them, the majority of them were pretty serious, but because there was a lot of them, it's like, well, there wasn't enough inventory or as competitive, you're in multiple offer situations for, a single family home that's trading at 80,000. It's like, okay, I gotta think better about this. So that's where I started thinking about, how do I get in touch with sellers? I have buyers. How do hey, I have a buyer for you, and so that's when, direct lettering kind of came into play, because that's all I could afford. I looked at Zillow. It was way too expensive to start out. Looked at like circle prospecting, the call things, the dialer. It was Redix. I tried Redix for a year. So then because the buyers were there, I kind of reframed my thought process and said, okay, I'll service them. Let me try to get some seller leads. And it was you know, I think I started with like 50 direct letters. You know, it's like, hey, you know, I looked up on the county, non-owner occupied in, I think it was like Old Brooklyn was my first go around, and, you know, I just mailed 50 a month. And it was 100, and it's 1,000, now it's a couple thousand, and it's just like.
How long did it take from that first 50 that you sent out to get even a response back?
So a little while, you know, and that kind of caught me off guard, right? I got a call, hey, you got your letter, we want to sell. It's like, I didn't know what to say, right? Like I didn't have the reps or the conversation. So it's like, you know, okay. And like, I think they could tell I was green at it. So, you know, I ended up getting the listing and then, you know, getting it withdrawn because I didn't know what I was doing. So,
That never happens, right?
Right.
Like you never
Parma
said-
duplex on Marion Clip, I'll never forget it. So, so then, you know, that was whoa, okay, like, I'm probably gonna get some more calls. I got excited because I doubled down on it and started adding more. And then I figured out, okay, when I get a call, you know, not a come listen to me call, but hey, I got your letter call, it's like, okay, here's the questions that I need to get from them. And then, you know, have a follow-up system and, you know, kind of polish my, you know, my value that I can bring to them. So, and then from there it was, you know, off and running. And,
So looking back at that very first year that you were in real estate, because we've got some new folks in the room. If you could talk to newly licensed Antonio, what would be some pieces of advice as to what to do or what classes to take or books to read or bigger pockets was a source for you? So
Yeah.
what would you tell yourself looking back then?
so I wish I had like a mentor or like another agent that was, you know, if you're looking to do whatever, commercial, residential, a certain type of volume or a certain amount of transactions, like talk to them. Most of the agents that I talk to here are pretty responsive with, you know, strategies, tactics, systems, you know, any useful information. So I wish I had that to guide me because I learned everything kind of on my own. And I learned a lot what not to do. So, you know, find an agent that you're willing to kind of emulate and just kind of have a conversation with them. And then books to read. I mean, anything that's like under the self-improvement category. I think for me, one of the things that I struggled with my first year was like inaction. I never took enough action. I let procrastination take over. I'd go downstairs and like, you know, play video games or something, right? And, you know, I think, especially if you're new, like there's a lot of discomfort in real estate. I mean, it's just natural because it's new and that's with anything. So it's like, get a little bit uncomfortable so you can get some confidence and know it's not that bad, right? Like, you know, Bold's a perfect example of that. I did Bold my first year. I was super uncomfortable, but like I got like 6 transactions out of it. You know, I was like, oh my God, these people are putting me in such an uncomfortable position, but I'm following up aggressively, having conversations that are meaningful. And it's like, okay, no, let's do this every quarter, you know, type of thing. So in action. So any like one thing I've developed over the years, and I think I read it in a book. It might have been Can't Hurt Me by Goggins, where it's like,
So good.
yeah, that's a great book to
So
read
good.
to get you kind of like, you know, not afraid of your own shadow type of thing, because I was my first year. Like anytime I had like a procrastination thought, like this morning I didn't want to get out of bed and go run. Well, I trained myself to like, okay, I'm having that thought where I need to go do the opposite of it, right? Like, oh, I don't want to make my calls today. We'll go and make one, right? It's like as soon as you have a meaningful conversation with the buyer or seller, it's like your day's lifted, the pressure's off. Like you get the reward. At least I do. You know, maybe you will too. So I've like trained myself to anytime I have a negative thought. I'm not perfect, obviously. You know, I still like I snoozed twice this morning, but I still got out and ran. You know, same with yesterday. My wife had an appointment. I had to get up earlier. I didn't want to. I snoozed it, but I got out. You know, got it in.
That's a huge piece because I think we all struggle with that first thought that hits us in the morning when you just wake up on the wrong side of the bed. So you can't control that first thought that comes into your head, but you sure as heck can control the second one. So if that's your key, like, oh man, I'm having this negative thought, but you're aware of it in that moment, you just do it and you push through that discomfort. And then it's always better on the other side of that.
Yeah, like
You're true to what your goals are.
yeah, I judge my day on my actions, not what I think. It's like, I could be at home laying down right now, like.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that every day still, even with work. I mean, there's calls I have to make today that I put off already. Should have made them this morning. I was, on the road and decided to send a podcast anyways, it's like, so now I have that lingering. It's like, get done and you're lifted from the day. So just, taking that action, ripping that Band-Aid off. I think there's a book called like Eat That Frog or something.
Eat the frog, yeah. Get the crappy part of your day done first.
Yeah,
And then it gets easier after that.
Or if it's, sending the letter out or, making the hard call to your buyer, about a negotiation or something like that, like those things I always put them off first. Now it's like, okay, just get it out of the way, offer value, kind of remove yourself and then just judge yourself on your actions because like I said, most of the time, I don't want to really do too much, but.
Yeah, and I think going from a regular job, if you will, to real estate where you don't necessarily have a job description, like, what do I do? You're not accountable to anybody. You're not gonna fire
Yeah.
yourself. So knowing that the frog in real estate is lead generation. That's the key and lifeblood to your business. If you don't do it, you don't have business. When if you're busy right now, you have 7 deals under contract, when all that pent up business cycles through, if you haven't been lead generating concurrently with those deals, you've got nothing. And so talk more about you're just like a young kid, sleeping in, staying out late, whatever, not having a system to now you're unrecognizable compared to what that was. So that just didn't happen by accident.
Yeah, so I had the roller coaster business, I'd have like 1 month where I'm selling a ton and the next month, not one check. Literally I've gone, 30 days without a check or a commission or a lead or a listing appointment or a buyer appointment. I'm like, oh my God, anxiety is just flying through me. So I trace myself back to what went wrong and it's stopping. So, I developed that thought process of, okay, this is never, ever, ever gonna stop. You have 7 pending, carve out time to make sure you have 7 in 90 days, right? Like that's a big thing for me now, especially in the last couple of years, like everybody seems to be pretty busy, right? It's like, well, double down on lead gen so you can, stay busy, maintain relationships, get new leads. And so, yeah, I mean, when I started, I had that roller coaster few months, and a lot of my leads were coming through direct mail, and then I had a follow-up system. So anytime I had like nothing to do, I would revert back to marketing some way. I'd go on Vistaprint and send something, create a new DL, handwrite, do something. I put myself in a position where I felt good with putting something out there to hopefully get, a lead back. So then I developed, with the direct mail, like nobody ever called and said, hey, come list my house today. It's like, hey, okay, we'll think about it. And then, I set up a system where, there's thank you cards and, depending on the type of property type, I send flowers, right? Like just remember me. And then I set up an aggressive follow-up from there. And, like seriously, one of my first direct letter leads, Lakewood Duplex from 2016. I've talked to her probably like 2-3 times a year, older woman, going over there Monday to
Wow,
like
6 years later.
yeah. It's just you have to build it into your system. Follow up, whether it's monthly, daily, whatever, weekly, depending on the the client type. Always follow up. And those conversations are always like, hey, how are you? How's the family? Property just sold, whatever. Sometimes I talk about real estate, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just ask, hey, how's it going? 30 seconds. And like, those are the calls that I've procrastinated in the past and I've seen that they sold. And it's like, did you leave that one hanging because you didn't want to make the call? So, so I got really consistent with marketing, consistent with follow-up, even though I did, again, all these things I didn't want to do. But anytime I had downtime, thought about like the months I didn't have a commission or a lead or, anything like that. I was like, okay, never going back to that. So. it's-
What system, sorry to cut you off, what system are you using to keep everybody organized right now? Because you have years of relationships and people that have reached back out. How do you just not forget about them? What are you putting them into?
So calendar, Excels, I'm very old school with it. I have like a 30, 60, 90. So like anybody who says, hey, we're, a few months away, they go in a category. So I'm touching them more. 60, okay, 90 or 90 plus, it's different. So, yeah, I mean, I have everybody into command. I have my notes. I try to follow up with them, but usually it's like just my Excel and kind of like in my head.
And old school works. I mean, if
Yeah.
Excel works better, if you're gonna use it, use Excel. Use something that you're gonna look at and actually do. Forget about all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
The bottom line is you need to be in a relationship with people and having conversations, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah, I mean, every lead that I get, I handwrite it out as I'm talking to them, and then I input it somewhere. So I have like, legal pads full of, leads throughout my year, like note taking, whatever, and like I'll go through those still to this day from like 2017. I've organized it. I've taken them, put it on an Excel spreadsheet, summarize it. Like I just fly through that now. And, I have a relationship with everybody. And some of them refer me out business, some of them sell their primary home with me, not their investment, so it's like, just be present in their life. And, I'm not overly pushy or aggressive or anything. It's just like, cool, hi, how are you? So that's it, every now and then I'll send them a note or a flower or whatever.
Stay top of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your business has been built primarily on sending out those letters. You've been consistent with that. What other ways are you lead generating?
That's, honestly pretty much it. This year and a little bit of last year, like my referral business started like kicking in, which was pretty cool. Like I've always been envious of those agents who say, oh, we get, a lot of business through referral. And like, I started to experience that. So, I have a follow-up system with my past clients as well, whether email, call, text, whatever, handwritten notes. So a lot of that is starting to pay off, because again, my first couple years were all buyers out of state. So I wasn't expecting really referrals from them. I did get them, but it's like, hey, we got another buddy who's investing. So then I started focusing on like residential, and that's where, a couple of years ago, and then now it's starting to like, hey, we got a friend, here's our realtor, whatever. So, but yeah, it's lead gen through direct mail and, referral on top of my database, I guess. Referrals probably come from my database.
So as you scaled, you realized the importance of leverage and getting other people to help you run your business. And that first hire for you was?
Yeah, transaction coordinator. So I was way late on that. So yeah, I mean, that's been incredible. I think my threshold was like 2 or 3 deals a month, but I think I waited for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, to take that, to take that time of the deal flow process and, follow up and do marketing instead, I absolutely love it. I use Ann Presley. She's amazing. Shout out to Ann. You're the best. I mean, she's great. She does everything I would do better. So yeah, I mean, it's a huge weight off my shoulder. There's just a ton of trust in her and making my deals get to where they need to go. I step in when I need to. I still maintain communication with my clients, but escrow letters and, missing signatures and things like that, on a priority list is, yeah, it's there, but like my priorities are lead gen and follow up every single day. I mean, literally every single day. I mean, there's not a month or day goes by. Well, I should say not a month that goes by that I don't send anything out, and then, make a weekly call on follow up too. So it's like, that's my.
Yeah, so we talk about the 80-20 rule, and 20% of the activities that you do in a given day, whether it's for working out or health or your business, will yield 80% of the results that you're gonna see in your business. So the paperwork side, it has to get done in a deal, but that's not necessarily your highest and best use of time. So by adding a piece of leverage, you can get back to the dollar productive activities, and having that person enables you to do more business, which will give them opportunity and help you make more money ultimately. And know that somebody's doing it at a high level. So Anne, like you mentioned, she's available for anybody in the market center to use as needed. So if you want a little taste of leverage, that's what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have maybe 7 pending right now, and you know, she's in touch, and they're all listed, all listings. So she's in touch with like the buyer's lender, she's in touch with the buyer's agent, you know, making sure we're on closing dates, things like that. So it's like, this is amazing. You
You're
know?
about to have 2 more babies, so
Yeah,
that's really helpful.
leverage is
It's like,
key.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So talk more about your daily schedule. Like run me through a day. You wake up in the morning. What does your day look like?
So yeah, I try to wake up in the 5 o'clock hour, not perfect, but alarms are set for like 5:15, usually 5:30. Downstairs, I like the quiet time. Parents, husbands, maybe, right? But yeah, so the mornings are really critical for me to kind of like set my day. If I don't, I can tell, but it's not like I'm a different person, but definitely feel way better when I get up early. I meditate 10-15 minutes. I read usually about, you know, try to get like 10 pages in. I kind of follow that morning miracle.
Miracle morning,
That's, yeah, that's kind of what, I think I read that when I joined. Yeah, like 15 or 16. So follow that. So I meditate. Usually my meditation's like if I have like a lot of things going on, I just try to like calm myself down and, you know, get back to like whatever even. And other times I visualize a lot. So big visualizer, I try to think of like the end first, right? So if it's a vacation or, you know, car or whatever, you know, I usually try to think about like health, business, family, and I just play out these elevated emotions, and I swear it works. Big believer in like the law of attraction and stuff like that, so karma and all that. So try to set my day up with that, just kind of get my mind right. And then I'm off trying to, you know, either run anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour, and then or lift. I think there's benefits to both. I always come home refreshed, ready to, you know, take on the day. And then after that, you know, usually I'm home by like 7:30-ish. Kids are up usually already. Make them breakfast, you know, and then I spend like probably an hour or 2 with them in the morning. And then depending on the day, my wife's schedule is weird. She works 9 to 9. So on the day she's off, my mornings are usually dedicated to my kids, getting them where they need to go when she's home, just spending time together as a family. And then, you know, I try to get in the office 9-10-ish. And then I usually spend the mornings trying to follow up, because it always makes me feel good. Even if it's just one call, I like, it really makes a positive impact on me. I lead gen, so whatever I have planned for that month, I execute whatever is on that week, and then I follow up with my transactions. You know, get in touch with Anne. You know, she needs a signature from me or my clients. You know, any information from the lenders, whatever. Do that, and then you know, just kind of rinse repeat in the afternoon.
And that works. And you're in the office a lot here, a
Yeah.
lot. So you have that bunker away from the kids, away from the daily grind and of your family life. How do you protect your time to do both, to have a family and know that certain times are sacred?
Yeah, whenever my wife yells at me, really. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to balance my like family and work life, it's a challenge. I'm not gonna lie. You know, when I have a lot going on, I just have to communicate with my wife, like, hey, I got a lot going on. I'll try to be home early, you know, I like getting home early to get dinner ready with them and spend the evening with my kids, but sometimes it doesn't work. But yeah, I mean, it's really like, if I can get my stuff done in the morning, personally, and then professionally here back at the office, like I'm okay. Sometimes I have to do like my lettering and stuff at home, which is fine, but I come here, it's just like, as soon as I walk in the office, it's like, that hat's on, everything else is, we gotta get this done, so laser focused. And then like, I took this from Ricky Caruth. He's an REMAC or EXP agent down in like Alabama, I think. But he doesn't like pick up his phone after like 5:30 or something. So I started doing that, and I enjoy it because I know when I'm on my phone around my kids and it's terrible, I feel bad, but I also want to like respond right away, just because it can be something small or big. Obviously my wife doesn't like it, but so I try to put my phone down, and then I'll say, hey, I'm gonna go check my phone for 30 minutes if I have to make any calls, and I'll just set up a little bit of time to go do that, and then I'm phone down, and then I'm back. So that's been really helpful, because I'm like computer next to the kid, not anymore, especially with what's around the corner. So trying to establish like a little bit of like an evening, small amount of work, commitment to work, and then the rest is family. And that's been well. And then, it's really just communicating back and forth with my wife, because like I said, her schedule's odd. It's 9 to 9. And then when she's home all day. And hey, when you come home early, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, so just like with her, you're managing expectations like you would with your clients.
Yeah.
And just a good communication.
Especially when she works weekends, it's like, well, my Wednesday or Thursday or my weekend, what are we doing? It's like, oh, but yeah, I mean, it's evolving. It's not perfect. I mean, like I said, I wasn't kidding when my wife yells at me. So it's like, that's true. It's, big things, communication, and being effective at work. Like I notice if I know I'm here all day, I'll procrastinate a little bit more than if I'm here just 4 hours. It's like, get everything done, go home on to the next. So it's like that full schedule allows you to really focus. But yeah, it's always evolving. It's day to day for me, week by week.
Yeah, and you feel good. Like if you didn't go on an appointment or have a conversation, like what did you actually do that day? In the words of Jeff Glover.
Yeah.
He's a big agent in the Michigan market centers, and he's very, like, he practices what he preaches. He's on the ground, and you have to do something for your business every day, whatever you're planning,
absolutely.
something productive.
Yeah.
So kind of switching gears to your value proposition. And I know that's an area where people struggle. We mentioned it at the team meeting yesterday, just getting clear on why someone would choose to work with you over anybody else. Because a lot of people send out letters.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes you unique to where somebody would want to work with you?
I don't know. So like I have my values, right, that I build myself on, my business on. Some of those are create a positive impact. I mean, we've all had a bad experience with working with somebody from sales, whether it's at like the mall or, buying a car or, even a realtor. So, that is a staple of when, like, how I conversate, create a positive impact. And like, I try to be as genuine as possible. I'm not like an over the shoulder, high pressure guy. I don't, I'm not using weird tactics. It's just like, hey, you called me, you have a rental property you'd like to sell, what are your pain points? Here's what the market's doing, and my conversations evolve from there. But like, I think that like a little bit of a high energy, genuine, I want to create a positive impact mindset is why. I don't know. I never really asked the clients why'd you choose to work with me. Maybe it's because I send you 500 letters a year. I don't know. So, but yeah, I mean, I do pride myself on, the values that I instill in like my business when I conversate, and, whether it's agent to agent or with my, buyers and sellers, clients and stuff.
Yeah, the referrals are a good testament to that, to know that you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
They're coming back for seconds. So you talked about your schedule. What education have you found to be most impactful from the time you started, even before you got licensed? What specific education have you found the most beneficial?
I mean, I really think if you don't read, you should read, even if it's like, real estate books are great. I'm big on like self-development, self-improvement. I know it's kind of sometimes can be a wonky subject, but I mean, you're one thought away from like kind of changing the way you think and therefore changing your life. And like, I'm a big believer in that. I'm doing that today with my, my current business. I'm trying to elevate to a higher standard and, not just professionally, I mean, with my family too. I'm bringing on 2 more kids. I need to upgrade myself as a dad and as a husband. So it's like, how? It's just, getting more information into my brain and processing it. So I definitely a big believer in reading. If you don't read, try.
Are you reading on Audible or with your eyeballs?
Both.
Okay.
So I read in the morning and then when I run, I listen to books. So reading right now, The Power of One More by Ed Milet. And
Okay.
then I'm listening to Can't Hurt Me by Goggins.
If you
Which
haven't
is-
listened to that on the Audible version, it's unbelievable because he's got commentary and man, it's a heart. You mentioned that before, Erin, I think it's one of you.
I said don't listen to kids.
Correct. There's a lot of colorful language in that.
Yeah, it's
What's the name?
Can't Hurt Me.
Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Yeah, so that's I just got into listening to books. That is my 3rd one. I put it on like 1.5 speed, so like,
Speed it up a little bit.
yeah, I'm not running.
Matches pace with your job.
But I love reading, like with my eyes, does something, while I'm drinking coffee. It's just like, I get
You're
up.
more present, like Audible, you can be doing other things, but if
Yeah.
you're reading, you can highlight and.
Yeah, because like I'll zone out, like this morning I zoned out in my run and like I missed, 4 minutes of what he was saying.
To stop and rewind.
Right, because like then I shut my headphones off. If I zone out, I shut off, then it's like a active meditation. Like I get that all the time when I run, like even if it's music, I like running without music, but just to get more stuff in my brain because of what's around the corner. I'm like listening to stuff to help me, like I said, elevate and change.
So personal and professional development books, just
Yeah.
to constantly be sharpening your sword. And so being learning based is the gist of that. So
Yeah.
you've taken what you've learned and built on that incrementally,
yeah, always.
but you
be
haven't
learning.
arrived, like you continue to strive to get better.
Yeah, and like that's the really big understanding of like I think life, right? Like it's never gonna be just stop. And your business always is gonna be evolving, you're always gonna be inputting. Same with like physical, mental. So yeah, so read. Specific to real estate, I'd say get yourself into a bold. I enjoy that. There is discomfort to it, but I think it correlates well with growth. And I think we all need to grow every single day, especially in like, the shifting market, whatever, but so I think Keller Williams offers that. It's fantastic.
For those of you that don't know what BOLD is, it stands for Business Objective, a Life by Design. These are BOLD laws that are written on this wall, but it's like a boot camp for your business, for mindset, for the right activities. We usually bring that to town every quarter or so, or, every half a year. The next one is going to be in January, but there are digital versions available now to participate with people across the country doing BOLD.
Yep.
And you got 6 deals out of that. It makes you really uncomfortable,
Super.
really uncomfortable.
But like I
You
said,
get
in a good way,
results.
like you're gonna grow, you're gonna have confidence, you're gonna understand, like, I mean, you're sitting around a table with other agents and last time I did it, I had Jake
Closure, yeah.
I was like, oh my God, like, can I join your team?
And now he's the OP of a market center. So people that
Yeah,
are willing to put
I
in that
learned-
extra work, you get different opportunities.
I
that are
scripted
available
with
to you.
him for like a full year, like, that was super uncomfortable. I mean, you're talking to another realtor about, your role playing, like, I was super uncomfortable. But then when you go and practice it with your client or prospect, you're like, you have some confidence, you know how to guide the conversation or, it's really good. I think, overall, and like the practical daily stuff, but then like, you know, the first couple days in Bold, you know, you do mindset stuff, and like, that's my favorite thing, because like I said, you need to think differently if you want to be different, especially on the improvement side. It's like, you need to improve your thinking, so it's like, you shed some of these doubts and fears, which I struggle with every day. So yeah, Bold's awesome. And then like educating yourself specifically to like the market. I like Ben Kinney, you know, I throw him on when I'm at the office, listen to him.
His podcast is
Yeah.
Win, Make, Give. That's a top favorite among top agents here.
Yeah, Tom Ferry's another one. He has snippets. I mean, they're, you know, I don't immerse myself in all these people. They have things that I can apply and help me think differently, improve. And then Keeping Current Matters, that's it's a I think it's on like the
It's a
website.
website.
Yeah, where they basically stay on top of market data objectively, right? And then you got to apply it to, you know, our market here locally. But you know, they have good conversations. They do things on marketing and stuff like that. Just like staying in tune with, you know, what you're doing, what the market's doing, how to like, you know, shape your conversations with, you know, inventory shortages, interest rate hikes. Like, they give you ideas to talk, you know, and if you're not educating yourself on that, how are you talking to your clients? Because like, you know, it's all over the news.
Yep.
And we're the ones that need to push back on the narrative if it's not a true narrative, which I think there's a false narrative out there.
Yeah, we talked about
For the most
that
part.
at the team meeting a little bit yesterday. Frank mentioned on Sundays, he sits in front of the computer and he has his hot sheet that he goes over, so you can go into appointments being educated, because what we're seeing now that's going to be more important is going from a speed-based market to a skill-based market. So if you're going in and setting yourself apart from other agents, if somebody else is out there competing for that listing, your clients, if you are the economist of choice by having information that's factual and based on evidence of what's happened in that past week or the past month, you've got a leg up on everybody else. Because you know what's going on.
Yeah, your knowledge, I mean, be the knowledge agent, like, and you can deliver that super easy. You know, you don't need to do it in a salesy way, or you don't need to do it in a, you know, way where whatever, it's just like, hey, this is what's happening in the market, and, you know, plug into some of the other variables they give you. And it's like, that's, I think, part of the, you know, success of staying top of mind to clients.
So what's next for you?
What aspect?
Business. I mean, what are your goals for the end of this year?
So let's see, like August is pretty much over in terms of like 30 days out, right? So September, October. Actually went over this with my wife last week. We'd like, I was shooting for 3, she wants me to shoot for 4 million in, you know, volume. So it's a little aggressive, but I'm going for it. So 3 million.
So that means getting everything under contract by Thanksgiving, so it closes by the end of the year, basically.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's like, well, I gotta leave, you know, here's your 4 kids. But no, so yeah, I mean, that's, you know, reflecting on my business after we kind of had our initial, you know, about how I built it. You know, I'm at the point where I'm like hitting this ceiling again, right? And I, you know, when I signed up with, or when I chose to work with Ann for my transaction coordination, I think I helped like raise that ceiling. Now I'm hitting it again. So I don't know what, well, I know what I need to do, but there's, you know, I don't know if I'm at a threshold again. So it's like, do I take on an executive assistant? Do I take on a buyer's agent? You know, I think with the volume transaction wise that I do, I can definitely have an assistant in place, you know, salary, whatever, handle part of my marketing, me add a leg to it. You know, and then on the buy side, I refer a lot of buyers out, just because I enjoy my, you know, my evenings.
Yeah.
I have a family, it's part of the counterbalance, but now maybe structuring that in a way where it's more of a business and I can get rewarded for it, because usually it's just like, hey, you know, no, I'm not working right now with buyers and they
Right.
find somebody else. It's like, "Ah, okay, I'll pre-qualify you, whatever. And then refer them out to somebody here or whatever. So yeah, I don't, you know, what's next? Yeah. I'm at a threshold. I'm trying to figure out how to get through and raise that ceiling. So.
It's gonna be another adjustment, like your family is
Yeah.
growing in size, and so giving yourself grace through this next transition to be consistent as you can, and,
Yeah.
you know, they're only this little one time, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
What questions do you guys have for Antonio? Anything that you wanted to hear more about, dive deeper into?
How, what have you noticed, how have you dealt with inflation in the current market conditions?
So I primarily work with sellers. So my conversation with them regarding inflation is, you know, affordability for buyers has changed, right? From, you know, 2.5 to 5.5, that's a lot of, you know, chunk of change. So, you know, it's the importance of pricing your home correctly, right? And there's still in certain parts inventory issues. So you can position yourself in a way to take advantage of that, but still be mindful of affordabilities, you know, shifting for the buyer. So, you know, home prices are kind of leveling off in some respects. So it's all subjective to at least like my sellers, and like what, you know, what their expectations are, what the market's doing, the formula I think I have for them to get a
CMA.
right. Well, and even not even that, it's, you know, here's where I think pricing is that'll allow you to get a strong, not just a strong price, but strong terms, strong conditions, you know, waive inspection maybe or whatever, right? Get a lot of eyes on it, get multiple offers. If you want to go high, okay, the probability of that is going to continue to go low. You might have to do price reduction. You're going to have to negotiate through certain things. So I think that part of that like stable side is, you know, it's on its way back. And, you know, I'm feeling it too. I had a listing in Crystal Creek, 26 showings in 2.5 days, 8 or 9 offers all over ask, 20,000 or more. And then I listed one 2 weeks after and I had 6 showings, 1 full price offer, you know, whatever. So it's like, whoa, completely different. And they were the one that had 6 showings had 1 extra bedroom. You know, so it's like, okay, I'm feeling it there. I'm feeling it in, I have a couple pending commercial and all these, I'm on the list side, the buyers are like, hey, we want to close now because our rate lock's changing. So we're seeing a little bit of urgency on the buy side too. I have a couple, I'm working three buyers right now and, you know, they're the same, you know, they want to get in as quick as possible because the rate is changing, but yeah, so, I mean, it's just staying on top of it. It's, you know, obviously we can't predict the market, but, you know, just educating yourself on what inflation is doing and how it's impacting buyers, relay that information to them and, or, you know, with your sellers so that you can, you know, offer the service that they're hiring you to do.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Holly, do we have any questions in the chat? No. Okay, Erin?
I don't have a question, but with Ben Kinney and Chris Juarez, like they do like a Zoom like recorded. It's usually Wednesdays, but it's today. And there was one a couple weeks ago talking about tracking your showing. When you started doing it as a team, how many showings do you need to get one offer and tracking it for each property and watching those ratios? Because like when you go and meet with your sellers, like they want stats, they want to know. And just explaining, like, you may still get your asking price, but that prep and that pricing is really becoming so much more important in a shifting market. And I thought that was cool. So like right now on our spreadsheet, how many showings did each property get? How many offers did you get? What percentage? And like, it's powerful to be able to, because I'm thinking what you're saying. We're not getting the same showings on listings either.
Yeah, and that's a really good tracking system. And I just went on a listing appointment yesterday and she asked like, you know, I showed her the comps and she's like, well, how many showings did these houses have? It's like, you know, like, I haven't gotten that one.
So then you can ask, why is that important to you?
Yeah.
To know that. now.
Well, I brought it back to pricing. I said, well, we can see that they sold over ask. So I'm assuming, you know, the multiple offers, that's a piece of data that stays between the seller and, you know, the agent. I said, but we know with offers that usually go at or above asking, it's pretty competitive, so, you know, this is 3 days on market. You know, I just had a house 3 days on market, had 26 showings, whatever, and I just refer to some experience I had, and then, you know, it's like, sorry, I can't answer that question, did I give you some value, or is there anything else I can go research? So she was like super happy with.
Yeah.
That, it's like, you know, so you can track it, right? Well, I've had 5 listings in Strongsville this year, and my tracking shows, you know, 13 showings equals whatever. You know, her other question was dates on market, things like that, so.
Yeah, and that's how you ultimately track if you need a price reduction. If we haven't had X number of showings and this many offers in this period of time, this is the next logical step, because the market's dictating the price.
Yeah.
Where can they find information on that recording or that?
So via like their right-hand lady sends it out, I think it's benkinneyagenttraining.com, I'll have to look at the website, and all those calls are recorded. And like, I mean, Chris Ward is a number guru, it's really cool, and he is talking about inflation, how that's like they're seeing it, and I think on the west coast, they're probably getting hit a little harder than they are here, season, but Seattle, like area. I'll double check, but it's really good, and someone like Antonio that loves stats and numbers would probably geek out about.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna make a spreadsheet now.
Anybody have any last questions for Antonio? All right, thank you for this.
Yeah, consistency, that's how I built it. Just staying consistent, so pick a lead gen or a follow-up system and just do it, evolve it, but stay consistent, because like the only way you'll, like, just don't quit, just do it, and you know, you'll get there, you'll build it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.